Thank you once again, Jody. So our next candidate to keep this rolling for the showcase is Kathleen Ganley. Kathleen is the MLA for Calgary Mountain View. She served as Alberta's Minister of Justice and Solicitor General from 2015 to 2019, where she focused on progressive reforms. Before her political career, she worked in law, specializing in labor, employment, and human rights. Please join me in welcoming Kathleen Ganley.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much to the Sherwood Park EDA for putting this together. It is an incredible gathering, and thank you all for coming here tonight. I'm Kathleen Ganley. I am running to be leader of Alberta's NDP and the next premier of this province. So a little about me. I studied psychology, law, and philosophy. I have an academic medal in the last, so I am a special type of geek. Through law school, I worked at Red Lobster, and I worked at a bank. And what that drove me to do is, after I graduated, I joined a labor-side firm, because working people deserve a voice. In 2015, Rachel Notley asked me to run for Alberta's NDP, and a lot of people told me that it was a career-limiting move. But I did it anyway, and I'm so glad that I did. I served as Minister of Justice and Solicitor General in the Notley government, and we certainly didn't get everything right. But I am incredibly proud that we were able to protect healthcare and education through a record economic downturn. We cut child poverty in half. We raised the minimum wage. And as Minister of Justice and Solicitor General, I consistently stood up for survivors of sexual assault, even when it meant taking on a judge. I expanded and protected human rights, and I even legalized pot. You're welcome. And I did all of this while doing the most important job of all, giving birth to and raising my daughter. And let me tell you, changing poopy diapers behind question period, now that is high stakes. In 2019, things looked pretty bleak, but I was a team player. I switched ridings for a colleague. I ran against a popular radio show host, the leader of the Alberta Liberal Party, and the UCP, and I won. I was one of 3 remaining MLAs in Calgary. In opposition, I moved very intentionally into the energy file because I think that we need to talk more about the economy because our ideas on the economy are better than the UCP's ideas. So that's why I'm running today, because I want to talk to you and I want to talk to Albertans across this province about building an economy that works for people. I want my daughter to have the same opportunities that I had growing up here in Alberta. And right now, that's not what's happening. The cost of living is rising. There's chaos in our healthcare system, the threats to our pensions, to our mountains, and I could go on. This UCP government is incompetent, and they don't care about you. But I do care about you. And this team of people, who are not up on the screen, sorry. I was expecting a slide there. The team of people who surround me, they care about you too. And we're releasing more ideas to help you every single day. There they are. We're going to cut your costs and hike your wages. We're going to end price gouging in the electricity system. We will cancel R-Star, we will close the war room, and we will invest that money in classrooms. We will make sure that companies fulfill their obligations and clean up their wells. And we will make sure that the Alberta Energy Regulator actually protects the public interest. Our policy on coal mining is very complex. No. We will enact pharmacare. We will ensure that there are minimum standards in long-term care. We will and we will establish a charter for NDP members to give you a voice in our party and our collective future. And just today, we called for a universal school nutrition program because kids learn better with a full belly. And friends, we're just getting started. We won't be afraid to talk about big ideas or tackle big challenges because we know that our team is capable of meeting the moment. This is our story, but it's your story too. Albertans deserve a better government, and you deserve a voice. So here is my invitation to all of you. Let's do this together. Bring your ideas, bring your energy, bring your dreams. Let's talk and share and build a party that reflects us all. We do our best work together, and that is how we win together in 2027.
Thank you, Kathleen. All right, folks, next up, we have Sarah Hoffman. Sarah grew up in rural Alberta wanting to be a teacher. She has studied at both the University of Alberta and Concordia University of Edmonton, earning 4 degrees, including a Master of Education. Sarah got involved with the NDP during her education years and ran for a trustee position with the Edmonton Public School Board in 2010, kicking off 5 consecutive election victories, and is the current MLA for Edmonton-Glenora.
What a moderator. Fantastic. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here tonight. And I, too, want to recognize that we're on the territory of Treaty 6. And I also want to recognize there are a ton of MLAs in this room. If you're an NDP MLA, please stand up, give a wave. Now, stay standing, friends. Stay standing. If you've run for the NDP, federally or provincially, stand up and give a wave, too. I know there's a lot of us. And if you volunteered for the NDP, stand up and give us a wave. And if you're going to make sure that we win the next election, stand up and give yourself a cheer. My name is Sarah Hoffman, and I am an absolutely proud, unapologetic New Democrat. I have been a New Democrat, as you've heard, my entire adult life. And it was really when I moved to Edmonton, in spite of the fact that my parents said, don't become a teacher, I decided that I should become a teacher anyway, that I was going to a lot of the protests. And it was around the same time as the war in Iraq had started. And there were NDP MLAs and volunteers who were there and helped me find my home in our party. More than just voting, they helped me learn that activists could have a place in the organization of our party. And I am so proud that that sort of sparked that initial joy that brought me to where I am today. I grew up, as you heard, well, you didn't hear Canuso, you heard a small town. Canuso is the name of the small town. It's about 3 hours north of here. 200 people live there. My dad was the principal. My mom taught kindergarten. It wasn't a scandal. They were married before we moved there. And you might imagine, I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. So when I was finishing high school was the same time that Ralph Klein had inflicted 5% rollbacks on both my parents' salaries. Teachers and educational assistants had been laid off. Custodial services had been privatized. And that custodian and my dad worked to take every other light bulb out of the school to try to save enough money to save one more educational assistant's salary. That's why when I told my parents that I wanted to be a teacher, they said, don't do it. They said the politics in Alberta is too bad. It's not respectful. We want you to have a career where you feel honored and respected. Hence politics. I took the scenic route to get there. As you heard, I took 4 degrees. But I'm so proud of the fact that I did pursue education and a master's in education. And during that time, I got extra involved in the NDP and applied for a job to be a staffer at caucus. And we have so many staff here as well. I know I didn't ask you to give yourselves a wave, but I see you, and I'm so grateful that so many staff are here tonight as well. And it was, as my time at staff, I was working as a researcher. We had 4 MLAs, and then a new MLA came on the scene, Rachel Notley. And Rachel and I worked very close together. And one night we were preparing to debate the education budget, and the Edmonton Public School Board was in the process of closing about 6 schools in mature neighborhoods right throughout Edmonton. And we turned to each other, and none of the trustees were talking about the fact that they were closing these schools because of conservative cuts, because they didn't have enough money to keep all of these schools open. They were talking about other things around the issue. And I just thought, enough's enough. We need to make sure we run somebody for the school board who's going to stand up for these kids. I said that to Rachel. And she said, well, then you should probably run. I was a behind-the-scenes person. I was an activist. I was a staffer. I was fat and I was sassy. And I didn't see myself being the one in front of the camera. I saw myself as one of the people behind the camera. But too much was at stake for us to sit back and let those schools close. So I turned to many of you in this room, and I asked you to give me enough money to get a leaflet. A leaflet so I could door knock in Ward G. Southeast Edmonton, there was an incumbent trustee. People said, don't run against an incumbent. Incumbents never lose. But I wanted to make sure that people in my area of the city, where I live, knew that there was somebody who'd have their back and who'd stand up for them and their kids. So we got enough money for that leaflet. I got a new pair of running shoes. A lot of you joined me on those doors. And not only did we win, we crushed it with 70% of the vote. And I did that as a proud New Democrat. I ran again for the school board and won again. I had the honor of serving as the chair for the Edmonton Public School Board, second largest district in the province, running a $1 billion a year budget. And not only did we keep those schools open, 5 of us had run on keeping schools open. We got 7 votes, so we convinced 2 of our colleagues. And often we were able to get 9 votes on the things that mattered most to us, 9-0 votes on the things that mattered, because we built a team together. I was so honored to be the chair of Edmonton Public, and I know we have many teachers and educational assistants, QP members here today as well.